Stephen on the WhatsApp line asks, the Israeli army lost 10 soldiers last week, making it over 400 in total. Are the Israeli army not themselves beginning to get fed up with Netanyahu, as they must be at their limit as well to carry on? Let me ask that question to Ofer Neiman. He's a member of Israelis Against Apartheid. Of course, you try and compare 400 versus more than 40,000, including almost 20,000 Gazan children killed over the last 15 months. Ofer, but what is the response to the Israeli public after a ceasefire deal has now been signed?
Hi. So the response is, I would say, a majority supports the decision. Most Israelis are tired of the war. Unfortunately, it's not about the genocide for most of these Israelis. They are, as you've just said, they are tired of losing soldiers, seeing the economy spiral down. So most people support the deal in general. There is no sense of triumph here, of victory. Some Palestinians in Gaza are celebrating. No celebrations in Israel. I think it's quite clear to Israelis that Israel has failed in this war. They are not. They have not destroyed Hamas. In fact, Hamas is getting stronger, and Israelis realize that.
Does the ceasefire provide any space to continue work at a long-lasting peace between Israelis and Palestinians? I just spoke to a report at Haaretz newspaper and saying that while there's, as you said, support for the ending of this war in Gaza, that he said that appetite for a two-state solution, if you would guess, would be in the region of one, in a single-digit percentage in Israel at the moment. How do you view it?
Perhaps this is the case, but we have to remember, I mean, this whole narrative, discourse around peace is very, very problematic. Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza, and Israel is also guilty of apartheid. Many South Africans understand that, and they stand with us in the anti-apartheid struggle here and with the BDS movement. So peace is a very problematic word. We can only have peace here if apartheid comes to an end, if we have accountability for the genocide. I'm afraid that many Israelis are still reluctant to see that, and that's why we need international pressure. So peace is not on the agenda right now. I would say that a struggle such as the BDS struggle should be on our global agenda to change things here and to force most Israelis into some sort of reckoning with reality here.
The responsibility in who rebuilds Gaza now have largely, in terms of the peace deal, been put on the responsibility of neighboring Arab-speaking states in the region. Do you think Israel should be held financially culpable, responsible in the rebuilding of the complete domicide in Gaza? Literally, there's nothing left. People's homes. They say they can now return to the north of Gaza, but return to what now, Ophir?
Yes, absolutely. So we already know that there is an ICC, International Criminal Court indictment against Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, and there should be more indictments of this kind. And along with this international legal criminal path for justice, reparations should be paid. So again, I want to stress that of course I recognize that crimes were committed by Hamas on October 7th against individual Israelis, war crimes. But again, what we're looking here is a genocide, and you've used the term domicide. That's true. There's also scholasticide, the total destruction of the educational system in Gaza, the healthcare system in Gaza, and Israel is the culprit here. Israel should pay for rebuilding Gaza.
South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission post apartheid is, I think, an imperfect example. But if an Israeli government says, South Africa, withdraw your case, I don't know if it can be withdrawn at the ICJ. If it says to the prosecutor at the International Criminal Court, withdraw your charge of genocide, it makes it easier for the Israeli government and Palestinian leaders to negotiate. What would be your response to that? This is, well, we're currently have litigation over it. We can't litigate, we can't defend, we can't have a adequate peace conversation with these cases over it. What would be your response to that suggestion?
That's a great question, but I think that for now this seems like a pie in the sky. The balance of power or imbalance of power is such that Israeli leaders will not agree to this. And overall, I would say, and some people agree with me that truth and reconciliation is necessary, but doesn't always serve as a total alternative for indictments, for people to go on trial, and for the world to learn about all the atrocities that have been committed. Um, but you know what? Perhaps if South Africa retracts the case in the ICJ, the International Court for Justice, for Truth and Reconciliation, perhaps, but I don't see a way to let individual Israelis who are guilty of genocide off the hook at the ICC, the International Criminal Court. And I think that we have to recall apartheid in South Africa was brutal, absolutely brutal. But what we're looking here is genocide, I think, which is far worse than any crime committed by the perpetrators of apartheid in South Africa at the time, which again was horrible, but not genocidal.
Really appreciate your time, Ofer Neiman. Speak to us from Israel, member of Israelis
Thank you
Against
very much.
Apartheid.